Hi, this lesson is about addition and subtraction of radicals. So the rule is to add and subtract radicals, you add or subtract the coefficients in front of the radical as long as the radical is exactly the same. So it's like the concept of combining like terms. So here we want to simplify 2 root x plus 5 root x. Since root x and root x are the same, these are considered to be like terms. So 2 plus 5 are the coefficients, and that gives me 7 root x. So let's go on to the second one. In this case, I want to add or subtract 3 root y and 8 root z. These cannot be subtracted because the radicals root y and root z are different. So you can only leave them exactly as they are written in the original problem. Okay, so let's move on. Here I have 3 terms. I have 7x root 2x minus 9x root 2x plus x root 2x. Okay, so not only do I need the same radical, which I have, but the variable on the outside has to also be the same. Again, they have to be like terms. So you're just combining 7 minus 9, which is negative 2, plus 1, which gives me negative 1x root 2x. Okay, but we don't write the negative 1, it's implied. So you get, so you write it exactly like this, negative x root 2x. All right, so most of these types of problems won't be as easy as the ones we just did. In most cases, you have to simplify the radical first, the way we did in the first section, and then if we have like terms, then we can add or subtract. So, for example, in number 4, 8 square root of x squared y, that could be simplified to 8x root y because x squared is a perfect square. And the second one, minus 11x root 4y, well, the 4 comes out of the radical and becomes a 2 that gets multiplied by 11. That's where the 22x comes from. And you have root y on the inside. Once you do the simplifying, then you can see that you have like terms. So 8 minus 22, that gives me negative 14x root y. So only the coefficient changes, all the variable parts stay the same. Okay, here's another one. I have root 32a squared b plus 8a 2b. All right, so again, they are not like terms as they are, but 32a squared b, you can break that down into 16 times 2a squared b. So the square root of 16 is 4, that comes out. Square root of a squared is a, so you get 4a root 2b. The second radical didn't change at all. That whole expression is still 8a root 2b. But now you can see that you have like terms, and so you add 4 and 8, and you get 12a root 2b. Okay, so let's go on to number 6 here on the right. I have x root 98y cubed minus 7x root 2y to the third. So the 98 breaks down into 49 and 2. 49 times 2 is 98, and 49 is a perfect square. The y cubed breaks down into y squared times y, so that we can take the square root of that expression. So let's work with the first expression first. The square root of 49 is 7. That comes out and gets multiplied by the x. And the square root of y squared is y, and that also gets multiplied by the 7x. So you get 7xy root 2y. And the second expression, all you can do is break down the y cubed into y squared times y. So the y comes out along with the 7x, so you get 7xy root 2y. Now notice that now you're subtracting two expressions that are exactly the same, so they basically cancel each other out, and your answer is just 0. Okay, here's one more. So I have 6a root 2b to the fifth minus ab squared root 50b. Okay, let's deal with the first radical first. B to the fifth gets broken down into b to the fourth times b. And in the next line, I actually take the square root of b to the fourth, and that comes out as b squared. That gets multiplied by the 6a, so you get 6ab squared, and the 2 and the b stays inside. Those are not perfect squares. So remember, the only part that comes out of the radical is the perfect square, and anything that isn't a perfect square stays inside. Now let's deal with the second radical. 50 can get broken down into 25 times 2. The b cannot be broken down. The square root of 25 is 5. That comes out and gets multiplied by the ab squared on the outside. So your second term is minus 5ab squared root 2b. But now you can see that you have like terms. It's the same variables on the outside and the same radical. So 6ab squared root 2b minus 5ab squared root 2b is just 1ab squared root 2b. But just as I mentioned in a previous example, you don't write the 1, so it's implied. So you just write it the way you see it in this box. So that's it for this lesson. Give this homework a try. This definitely needs some practice to get good at this. And once you feel comfortable, these actually go pretty quickly. Okay, good luck.